Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Sadia Yakubu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes channels 276. The Speaker of House of Representatives, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, is mourning the victims of two separate tragedies that struck communities in Niger and Adamawa states over the weekend. In Niger State, at least 15 people lost their lives, while a boat carrying 43 passengers capsized in Zumba, Shiroro local government area. The ill-fated vessel was en route to the weekly market loaded with passengers, 60 bags of paddy rice, livestock and other goods when it hits a tree and overturned. In a related development, devastating floods swept through several communities in Adamawa State, claiming 5 lives and injuring more than 50 others. The flood, which affected part of Yola North and Yola South local government areas, have left many residents displaced and homes destroyed. The immediate past chairman of the Nigerian ruling political party All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has been confirmed with the esteemed Grand Patron Award in recognition of his significant contributions to the sustainability and development of broadcasting practice in Nigeria. The award was confirmed on him at the prestigious ceremony held during the grand finale of Nigerian Week London 2025, held at Hippodrome Theatre, Golders Green, London. Our correspondent, Edika Michael, has the reports.
The award ceremony took place amidst gathering of prominent Nigerian diaspora leaders, industry stakeholders, and well-wishers celebrating Nigeria's rich cultural heritage, economic progress, and impactful contributions across various sectors. The event, now in its 2025 edition, aims to strengthen diplomatic and economic ties between Nigeria and the United Kingdom, while spotlighting Nigeria's achievements on the international stage. Delivering keynote address at the event, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Malem Lanre Issa-Onilu, and his counterpart, the Director General of the Nigeria Broadcasting Commission, Charles Ebuebe, tasked the creative industry to drive positive Nigerian stories that can captivate both domestic and global audiences.
So we felt both the leaders and the followers must be committed to that identity project. And that is the only time we can collectively move the country together.
The strategy we have decided to put up is fix the foundation first, and then you come up with regulations and engagements and all of that.
During the award presentations, Dr. Ganduje, the immediate past chairman of the All Progressive Congress, was honored for his dedicated efforts in promoting effective broadcasting practices and supporting the growth of Nigeria's media landscape.
It's here. So this award goes to Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, OFR, for the Distinguished Patron Leadership Award. And the representative is here. Congratulations, madam.
The organizer says Ganduje's leadership and initiative have been instrumental in fostering transparency, promoting national unity, and enhancing the country's media infrastructure. Represented by a team of top management of Global Television, the acting managing director Aisha Lara Musa expressed Ganduje's gratitude on the award.
And I'm here to receive this award on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduje. On behalf of His Excellency, I say a big thank you for this award to His Excellency. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nigeria Week is an annual week-long international festival in London to highlight Nigeria's contribution to film, fashion, Nollywood, and Afrobeat music, as well as the tradition of various ethnic groups across the nation. Edika Michael, reporting from London for Global Television News.
The Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, says the Parliament is stepping up effort to tackle religious and racial discrimination across the country. He made this known at the 2025 Interfaith Legislative Roundtable in Abuja, calling for stronger legal educational tools to promote tolerance and national unity. The House of Representatives says it is committed to building a more inclusive society where no citizen is discriminated against based on religion or race. Speaker Abbas Tajuddin, represented by Deputy Speaker Honorable Benjamin Kalu, made a declaration while opening the 2025 Interfaith Legislative Roundtable engagement in Abuja. The Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission has fixed Saturday, August 30, 2025 to conduct local government elections across the state. The chairman of the commission, Michael Ode, announced in the Port Harcourt while unveiling the revised timetable for the elections. The new date marks a shift from the previously scheduled August 9th, which was set by former Rivers State INEC by Justice Adolphus Enebeli, retired before the declaration of emergency rule in the state. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has hosted a post-election follow-up and needs assessment mission from the Economic Community of West Africa State Network of Electoral Commissions in Abuja. The former All Nigerian People's Party, ANPP, has called on the President Bola Tinubu to ensure that the Vice President seat is made sacrosanct for the ANPP bloc within the ruling All Progressives Congress ahead of the 2027 general presidential election. For coordination of the party, Vitalis Ajumbe made the call while addressing journalists in Abuja. Kike Lomo Okeri has the details.
The All Nigerian People's Party, which is now a major bloc within the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), is calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that the vice presidential slot is reserved for the ANPP bloc when the party fields its candidate for the 2027 presidential election. The coordinator of the party, Vitalis Ajumbe, emphasized that the move will reaffirm the significance of political inclusion and uphold the spirit of equity and power sharing within the APC coalition.
Vice presidential seat. The Association of the former NPP members hereby calls on our President, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to ensure that the vice presidential seat is made sacrosanct.
He added that preserving the vice presidents for the ANPP bloc will not only strengthen internal democracy, but also maintain balance among the party's legacy group. The ANPP is one of the three legacy parties that merged to form the APC in 2013. With political realignment already taking shape across the country, this latest demand is expected to stir fresh conversation within the ruling party. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The House of Representatives has proposed a single day for the conduct of the 5 elections in 2027 if the proposal is upheld. The reviewed Electoral Act would empower the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to simultaneously conduct the presidential, senatorial, House of Representatives, governorship, and House of Assembly polls in one day. Other amendments being proposed by the lower chamber of the National Assembly includes the payment of 50 million naira by political associations seeking registration as parties, restriction of presidential elections, expenses to 10 billion naira conduct of elections 120 days before the expiration of the incumbent term, and determination of election petitions within 90 days after the exercise. The federal government has launched a loan fund to support staff of tertiary institutions. The fund, known as the Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund, is designed to enhance the welfare and professional development of academic and non-academic staff in the universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. Each academy and non-academy staff member will be eligible to receive up to 10 million naira capped at the 33.3% of their gross annual salary. The Academic Staff Union of University has expressed frustration over the prolonged stalemate in negotiation with the federal government over key issues affecting university lecturers and the education sector in the country. In an interview in Jos, the union president, Professor Chris Piwuna, said that the union had run out of patience with the government despite years of promises and discussions. Piwuna stressed that the union's demands were clear and well articulated, citing the 2009 agreement with the government, which outlines key issues such as conditions of service, autonomy, academic freedom, sustainable funding, and earned academic allowances. The Social Democratic Party, SDP, has expelled the former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai and banned him from associating with the party in any capacity for the next 30 years, citing forgery of membership documents, according to a statement by the party's spokesperson, Araba. El-Rufai never registered at the ward level, yet falsely claimed membership on social media while allegedly forging documents to support his claim. The party also accused him of aligning with African Democratic Congress, ADC, attempting to destabilize the SDP through misinformation and violation the party's principles and Nigerians' electoral laws. The federal government has announced a cost-sharing scheme with the National Health Insurance Authority to make cancer treatment more affordable for low-income patients, offering subsidies of up to 4,000 naira for radiotherapy. This follows the inauguration of 3 oncology centers in Katsina, Nsukka, and Benin, noting that it plans to establish oncology centers in Maiduguri, Port Harcourt, Ilorin, Yola, and other strategic locations. Radiation therapy or radiotherapy is a type of cancer treatment in which specialists kill cancerous cells in the body by exposing them to ionizing radiation. The Nigerian Medical Association has suspended its planned strike following a tense 12-hour emergency meeting with government officials and state governors. However, the association gave the federal government a 21-day ultimatum to meet its demands, citing dissatisfaction with the recent MOU. Delegates rejected the deal due to lack of clear timelines and guarantees, but agreed to wait in hope of a resolution. The federal government has dispatched armored personnel carrier to strengthen security and combat banditry in Kebbi State. The state governor Nasir Idris made the announcement while inspecting the vehicles at the government house in Birnin Kebbi. The governor noted that Kebbi has been under constant attack from bandits crossing over from Zamfara and Niger states, launching raid and retreating to their hideouts. Stated that the development of the APCs would help deter further attacks and protect lives and properties. Meanwhile, troops of the Nigerian Army, supported by Department of State Services, Intelligence and Hybrid Forces, have neutralized at least 45 terrorists during a gunfire in Iburu Village, Shiro local government area of Niger State. The operation followed a tip-off about an impending attack leading to destruction of dozens of motorcycles used by the bandits. 2 hybrid fighters died and 4 others were injured and hospitalized in the state capital. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) has forecast widespread rainfall and thunderstorm across various parts of the country from Monday to Wednesday, warning that flash floods are likely in vulnerable areas, especially those with poor drainage system. According to its weather outlook released in Abuja, thunderstorm and moderate rainfall are expected over parts of Jigawa, Zamfara, Kano, Kaduna, Bauchi, Yobe, and Katsina State in northern Nigeria, while the agency calling on residents to stay alert and prepared for possible weather-related disruption. NINET further advised motorists, outdoor workers, and the general public to exercise caution during the heavy pour period, as the rain may lead to reduce visibility, waterlogged areas, and traffic disruptions, emphasizing that this forecast is part of the ongoing national effort to strengthen disaster preparedness and public safety. You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, federal government to sell 11 discos to new investors. Details coming shortly, plus sports and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Welcome back. In business, the federal government has launched a clampdown on the rising use of imprest and cash advance after fresh data revealed that over 2.27 billion was disbursed under these two expenditures categories in 2024 alone. This figure is a more than 308% increase from the 556.3 million recorded in 2023. Imprest refers to a fixed amount of money issued to public officers to over routine operational expenses, usually embossed quarterly, while cash advance donates funds granted for specific administrative purposes or special projects, both of which must be retired with proper documentation in line with financial regulations. The House of Representatives Committee on Renewable Energy has raised alarm over a 50% skill gap in Nigeria's renewable energy workforce. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Afam Ogene, disclosed this during the African Policy Dialogue in Abuja, themed Green Jobs and Low Carbon Transition. Our National Assembly correspondent, Anita Patrick, has the reports.
According to Honorable Ogene, the shortage of skilled technicians and engineers is hindering growth in the sector, despite Nigerians' renewable energy potential. He attributed the challenge not just to workforce deficits, but to weak policy frameworks and limited knowledge transfer. Honorable Ogene called on academic institutions to align their curricula with the demands of the green economy, adding that the National Assembly is working to enact effective legislation that supports green job creation, especially for youths and women.
With my team of experienced colleagues, experts, legal advisors, and skilled legislative drafters, we are confident in delivering comprehensive and impactful law that the nation will be proud of.
Speaker of the House, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, represented by the Deputy Minority Whip, Honorable George Ozodinobi, affirmed the 10th Assembly's commitment to advancing green policies that tackle unemployment and promote clean energy.
As part of our commitment to inclusive and sustainable growth, the House is actively considering a Green Jobs Inclusion Bill that will mandate allocation of a minimum percentage of our public and private sector employment opportunities to eco-friendly occupations.
Also speaking, Victoria Manya of the Include Knowledge platform stressed the need for inclusive climate policies, warning that without equity, the low carbon transition could favor fossil fuel interest.
A just transition must not only reduce emissions, because if you look at it, what is the measure of Nigeria or Africa's contribution to the emissions? Very minimal and at best insignificant.
Some stakeholders agree that Nigeria stands at a crucial turning point where bold action on renewable energy can unlock jobs, empower communities, and protect the environment. Anita Patrick, Global Television News.
The federal government may sell 11 power distribution companies through a reprivatization process if the Electricity Act Amendment Bill 2025 currently before the National Assembly becomes law. The National Assembly has already initiated a legislative process to enhance sweeping reforms that could see core investors in electricity distribution companies lose their stake if they fail to improve their investment. The amendment bill, sponsored by Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe, seeks to overhaul the 2023 Electricity Act by addressing regulatory gaps, as it's one that investors risk losing their stakes through share dilution, receivership, or outright reprivatization if fresh capital is not injected into the sector within 12 months following years of poor performance and a worsened debt crisis. And on the foreign scene, at least 92 people have been killed across Gaza by Israel fire, including 41 aid seekers, despite pauses in fighting to deliver essential humanitarian aid. U.S. President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister discussed the appalling scene in Gaza and agreed that urgent action is needed to end the humanitarian disaster. Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa told the UN conference on a two-state solution that Hamas must end its governance of Gaza and relinquish its weapons to the Palestinian Authority. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on the world to draw a line, declaring that hunger must never be used as a weapon of war. His call comes as Gaza and Sudan face worsening humanitarian disasters driven by conflict and aid restriction. Mukhtar Qasim has the details.
The United Nations is once again raising alarm over growing food insecurity in conflict zones. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres made the appeal during a conference in Ethiopia as Gaza and Sudan grapple with severe hunger triggered by war, displacement and restricted aid access. In Gaza, 21 months of conflict and a month-long aid blockade have left the populace on the brink of famine. In Sudan, a year-long power struggle has displaced millions and deepened the humanitarian suffering.
Supply chains and humanitarian response. Conflicts continues to drive hunger from Gaza to Sudan and beyond. Hunger feeds further instability and undermines peace. We must never accept hunger as a weapon of war.
However, Israel denies using starvation as a weapon and instead blames aid agencies for not picking up supplies from border crossings. In Sudan, the United Nations describes the crisis as the world's largest and least remembered humanitarian catastrophe, with millions still displaced and aid access severely limited, with lives hanging in the balance. The United Nations chief says ending hunger in war zones is not just a moral duty, it's a matter of peace and survival. Mukhtar Qasim, reporting for Global Television News.
Meanwhile, it has been observed that there is a movement on the humanitarian front in Gaza after months of restricted aid and raising fears of famine. Aid trucks have now begun to tackle in following a declared pause in fighting. Zarau Nasir has the details.
Aid trucks have begun entering Gaza from Egypt for a second consecutive day, following Israel's announcement of a limited tactical pause in its military operations. On Sunday, Israel declared the pause in parts of southern Gaza, aiming to create secure routes for humanitarian access. By Monday, Israel authorities said more than 120 truckloads of food aid had been collected and distributed by the United Nations and other aid agencies. An additional 180 trucks have crossed into Gaza and are awaiting pickup, along with hundreds more still queued near the border. Israel's Military Coordination Unit, COGAT, emphasized that greater consistency from humanitarian groups in collecting aid will ensure more supplies reach civilians in urgent need. Beyond the land deliveries, Israel, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates have conducted parachute airdrops of smaller aid packages into the enclave. Before the current conflict between Israel and Hamas intensified, around 500 trucks of aid and commercial goods entered Gaza daily. But with access routes restricted and fighting ongoing, aid agencies have warned of a looming famine, saying supplies are running dangerously low, while pressure mounts internationally for a ceasefire to allow broader relief efforts. The Israeli government insists it is not using starvation as a weapon. Instead, it accuses the humanitarian agencies of failing to distribute aid already delivered to Gaza's borders as civilians continue to suffer. The need for safe, sustained humanitarian access grows ever more urgent. Zahra Nasr, reporting for Global TV News.
And in sports, Nigerian women's basketball team, the Tigress, sealed a 60-55 victory over Mozambique in their final group, the game of the 2025 FIBA Women's Afro Basket in Abidjan. The winner, the Paddlers, the Sports, Monday secured Tigress a direct ticket to the quarterfinals as Group D winners, having won both match after a challenging first half. The reigning champion showed their quarterly and composure as they bounced back in the second half to seal victory. That's it on Midday News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channels 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using at Global TV NG. I am Sadia Yakubu saying thank you for watching.